Hello there and welcome to another photo adventure. Today we have a little walk with the dog and I'm going to show you how to get sharp focus on all of your photographs. So join me shortly and we'll go and find a couple of scenes to photograph. So today I was sat in the house and going through emails and comments on YouTube. Before I go any farther, your support really is appreciated and I can't thank everybody enough for hitting that subscribe button. Please just keep continuing. Yeah, I've had a few emails asking how I get absolute sharpness on images. So today I'm going to show you a couple of little techniques on the techniques that I use to get perfect focus. We'll also be talking about focus stacking. It's another technique that I use, so let's go and find a scene and get something to photograph. So here's my first little scene, and what we have is the tree with a piece that I presume broke off and it's been cut off since, and the beautiful little gate that's bright green. So I'm looking at this, and what I want, because there's a lot of detail actually in the bark on the silver birch, I am going to focus on that. And the gate at f11, it should be acceptably focused and acceptably sharp, but where I want the detail is going to be on the bark of the tree. So I'll just show you on the back of the camera where I'm focusing and how I do it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on the bit of a stump there. Now what happens with a lot of cameras, if it's a dark area, the autofocus doesn't always pick up the detail that's there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in 10 times, which is pretty much 100%, and as you can see we are slightly soft because it is dark. What I'm going to do now is just manually move the focus ring to there, which is now sharp, and I will take the shot. My settings for this are just going to be ISO 100, I'm at f11, 15th of a second. I am underexposed just a slight little bit, third of a stop, just because the sun is to the right of us and it is quite bright, and I just want to darken the image down a little bit, pretty much to show you how light affects the focus. 2-second timer is on. I will take the shot. What I would recommend you do as well is zoom in 100% and just make sure that you have got that sharp detail. As you can see there, we have sharp detail in the stump and on the trunk itself. It is the best way to get accurate and perfect focus. So first thing to remember when trying to focus on a dark area is don't trust your autofocus. A lot of cameras, mine is pretty good really, the Canon 5D Mark IV, it's got about 7 stops of dynamic range. So it is pretty good. Hi mate, you're right. But even this can sometimes be slightly off focus. So the way to get full focus and sharp focus, hit the zoom button. Every camera's got a zoom button. Go into live view and zoom in as far as you can. Hit your focus button, and then if that doesn't work, just fine tune manually on the focus ring on the lens and you will get that perfect focus right on the spot that you want. There are other techniques you can use as well. I mean, what I do, I get all my lenses calibrated to the camera pretty much once a year, pretty much because I'm lazy. And when I'm out shooting, I've always got the dog with me, and I'm always rushing from A to B to C to D. And I don't really spend that much time checking focus, because I know that my autofocus and my lenses are calibrated. I know that I can get it just by selecting an area, hit the button, and it's done. If I come somewhere and I want to make sure that I have got the detail that I want, then I will use this technique, whereas I will open up in live view, zoom right in and focus using the camera, and then check with the focus ring. For me, pretty much 9.9 times out of 10 the shot is in focus. Occasionally it's not, like just. So yeah, do that and you'll get perfect focus. I'm going to go find somewhere a little bit lighter now to show you again, and maybe somewhere we can try and focus stack an image. There was a tree up here with some lovely moss on and detail, so I'll go and see if I can find that, and I'll show you another technique where you can focus stack to get perfect focus again when there's two planes of focus in the shot. Join me in a minute. So you may recognise this little scene from what I did a couple of days back in the fog. Some beautiful moss and some detail. The sun is just lighting up the right hand side of the tree now. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the two trees, and because we're on separate planes, what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to focus stack, and I'll just show you the back of the camera and I'll show you how I do this. So there's the shot on the back of the camera. I'm loving the way the right hand edge, both these trees are lit up by the sun now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to focus on the left hand tree. It's a simple composition, left hand tree in left hand real thirds, right hand tree in the right, and I'm now going to punch in to 100%. As you can see, we are nice and sharp, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to come across to the second tree, where are you, which is there, and as you can see we are way out. If I hit the focus button again, we have detail. So there are two definite planes of field with this shot. So what I intend to do with this is I'm going to focus stack. And what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to hit the focus button there. I'm now going to zoom in to my 100%, and I'm going to check manually the focus, which is looks pretty much bang on with the autofocus. We can come out of zoom. 2 second timer's on. I'm at F11, ISO 100 and 13th of a second. 2 second timer, just stop any shake. There's the first image. And the second image, I'm going to focus on the second tree, and again I'm going to zoom in because I want perfect focus. So I'm now going to just gently just rock the focus wheel to there. Looks pretty good. Yep, focus hasn't moved it at all, so my focus points are accurate, as I say, because I have the camera calibrated. But there are the two photographs. I'm going to take this shot now, same settings. All it needs is a little bit of dodge and burn, just to brighten up the where the sun's actually lighting the trunks up, and you'll be fine. Join me in a second and I'll talk you through how I stack these together in Photoshop for you. So the way I focus stack in Photoshop, there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can open up the two images in Lightroom. You can edit one photo in Lightroom, sync the settings to the second image so you've got exactly the same editing, and then right click on the screen and open as layers in Photoshop. Or you can just go straight into Photoshop. At the top, click on File, select your two images. At the bottom of that there'll be a little checkbox to auto align layers. Click that, You'll then open up as 2 layers in Photoshop. Select both layers, control and click on both layers, and then go back to the top, click edit, and come down to auto blend layers. Blend the layers, and you'll end up with 2 images, 2 layers, each with its own little layer mask on there. And each layer mask is the area of sharpness with the image blended. If you want to make sure you've got no anomalies, because sometimes you can get the slight little anomaly in the editing, what I'll do, I'll zoom in at both images, and if everything is perfect, I'll leave it. If not, then you can just click on one of the layer masks and just, I usually set a brush to about 20-30%, and then just brush in any anomaly so you can get rid of it and blend it in that way. Merge the 2 photos together, you've got your photograph to edit then. It's quite easy, and you will have focus perfect on both the trees. This also works if you're going to do a 3-shot focus stack or a 4-shot focus stack. The principles are exactly the same, and I'll put the photo on now to show you detail in both the trees. So my next little scene is this beautiful path that runs uphill. Betsy's posing, she's waiting for a photo to be took, so I'm going to take a quick one of her. There you go, there's a photo of Betsy. With this shot, try and learn on your lens where your camera starts to go into infinity. I know on this 24 to 70 lens, it starts to go towards infinity at around 3.5 to 4 meters. So what I'm going to do, I'll just turn around now and show you. The big clump of grass just behind where Betsy is probably 4 meters away. So I am going to focus on that, and we have another thing called acceptable focus. There will be a sharp point where your focus is on, but rather than focus stack this, if you've got epic light here, then I would focus stack it on the grass in front. Just turn to the camera. To focus stack, I would focus there. Let me just turn the camera back on. Focus on the grass there, and I would focus somewhere midpoint up. But for this, I'm going to use what we call acceptable focus, and I'm going to, oh yeah, you're right, carry on, you're all right. Whereas I'm going to shoot at f16, just going to open up, and the lump of grass will be perfectly sharp, and the path going up is going to, it's not going to be perfectly sharp, but it will have acceptable focus and enough just to get away with one shot. I'll take the shot and I will show you right now. So as you can see from that photograph, the clump of grass and the other bits of grass just the other side of it are really sharp. That is where a lot of detail is in the image, and the idea is I'm trying to get the viewer to look at the bottom of the image and work its way up the path to the top. So the first point of contact for the eyes I want sharp, hence I'm focused on that clump of grass, the initial clump of grass. and I can then follow the path up, and as you can see, even the path at the top, although it's a tiny little bit soft, it is still more than acceptably sharp. So you don't always have to focus stack an image. You can just change aperture and close down just a little bit, and you can get good acceptable sharpness with a single point on the plane which is perfectly focused. Another thing to think about is the aperture that you use. Most lenses have a sweet spot, usually somewhere between f5.6 and f8. For f2.8 lenses, if you use an f4 lens, then you're looking at f8 to f11. Again, find the sweet spot on your lens just to help maximise the sharpness that you can get in your image. So I hope this video has been of some help to you with getting focus. The best thing I would do, another thing you can do, is check your focal points and see if they are accurate. What I would do is focus on something, a tree with good gnarly bark, so you've got good detail there, and then zoom in and then just move your focus wheel on the lens just to see if you can improve the focus. If you do, then it may be worth getting your lenses calibrated to your body. Either that or just manually focus. If you want critical sharpness, just manually focus. Yeah, the focus stacking is a good technique to learn. As I say, just click on file at the top, select the click on file at the top, come down to scripts, click on that, and then it'll say load files into stack. Click that, open the two images. They will then open as layers in Photoshop. Hit Control and click on each layer to select them both. Go to the top of the screen, click Edit, come down, Auto Blend Layers, and it will blend them with layer masks. And you can adjust any discrepancy in the blend quite easily. It's a fantastic technique to learn, so I would say if you want critical sharpness throughout your image from front to back, learn how to focus stack. The third image that I've put on, I'll put the images back on again in a moment. You've got to remember, you don't always have to have critical sharpness throughout an image. As long as you've got acceptable focus, acceptable sharpness, with one plane of focus that is perfectly sharp to catch the eye, and then just let the eye lead through an image, that is just as good, because naturally your eyes don't see mega sharp detail. So the rule of acceptable sharpness does apply to most images, and if you can find out the sweet spot for the aperture, it will help you get sharper images, and also learn where your lens starts to go into infinity. As I say, with the 24-70, it does start to get to infinity round about 3.5-4 meters distance. So if you've got a foreground or something on the foreground at about 4 meters, if you focus there, you will have pretty much good focus throughout the entire scene, as you could see on the picture of the path. Looks beautiful. I'm going to end the video now because I'm going to go and get me a cup of tea, and I've got to take Betsy to the vets for a checkup. There are links in the description below to all the gear that I use. Please check it out. There's leave me a comment in the comment section below if you've got a particular image, even if you've got a question on how to focus stack, how to get perfect image, how to check your focal points. Send me a comment below and I will help you out. It is quite easy once you get the hang of it, and just be patient. The more practice you get, the quicker you will be at focusing and the better your focus points will be. I'm going to put the photos on now. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. Your support is greatly appreciated by me and Betsy. And until next time, here are the photos that I've just took, and take it easy.